Guess who's with us? It's Priyanka Chopra as well as her manager, Anjula Acharya. And Priyanka is here to talk about her life as a tech investor. Priyanka, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So we were all moved by your wedding. Our eyes welled up watching the videos as well as all the Instagram stories of people. Which was the most special moment for you?
I mean, I think as a bride, as a girl, everyone thinks about getting married from when they're kids, you know. There's just something that's in your head about being that special girl on that day. But I was definitely nervous and scared. I mean, I've spoken in front of heads of states. I've been on the most prolific stages in the world, but I was most afraid on this day. But I think the most special moment was when the curtains opened and I saw him for the first time, right at the altar, and I was going to walk out, and just everything just felt right. I think that for me was the most overwhelming moment. I was just like, life's great. Nothing to worry about.
And was the big fat Indian wedding intimidating for Nick?
Well, that's very judgy of you. Have you not noticed that the American family is much bigger than the Indian one this time?
So how do you deal with that?
I mean, the Jonases travel in packs, I must say. No, of course not. In fact, we were intimidated by them this time. They really were prepared, I must say.
All right. And the last question about your wedding, your fashion choices. Everybody was watching all your clothes throughout. How tough was it for you to decide on what to wear for the various functions?
It really wasn't, because it came from a very personal place. For me, it was not about the fashion. It wasn't about what it looked like in the picture. I just wanted something which was unique, because I think I'm unique in the way I think. So both my dresses, my white dress and my red dress, were very personalized to me. I had names, dates, my parents' names, things that mattered to me, my mother-in-law's wedding dress embroidered on my dress. I had Om Namah Shivaya written on my dress. Just things that mattered to me, compassion, love. So that my dresses were very personal, and the fact that they ended up being something that, you know, other women have admired is great. I mean, I really wanted the longest veil in the world, and I got that with my 75-foot veil.
But it didn't stop coming, by the way. It just kept going.
But that I really wanted. But besides that, I think it was just a very like personal choices in terms of keeping it very special and unique to me.
Okay, great. And now you are in work mode right after your wedding.
As it should be.
Absolutely. Do say some pearls of wisdom or inspire all the young brides out there to just jump back into work.
Well, I feel like my work and Nick's work are very important to both of us. There's no free lunch in the world, and we've both worked very hard to be where we are, and we don't take it for granted. Like that, I don't take it for granted, and my commitments matter to me a lot. My word is my bond, and we had decided to do this a long time ago, before I knew I was getting married, and so I stick to my commitment. But besides that, it's something I'm very excited about as well, and I would just tell like brides out there, whatever your priority is right. It doesn't matter if your priority is work, that's right. If your priority is honeymoon, that's right. If your priority is doing nothing, that's right too. Because as newlyweds, it's really your turn. You get to do whatever you want. And with us, these are the choices we took that work for us.
All right then. Now you have invested in two companies which are in the technology space.
Right.
One is Bumble, which is a dating app, as well as a coding education company called Halbert. Yes.
Yeah.
So why did you choose to invest in both of these companies?
Well, again, I like what was important to me. Anjula is actually by profession a venture capitalist. She happened to become my manager because we worked together in doing what I was doing in America, and then it just seemed sensible for us to work together. So I always talk to her about, I'm a tech fan. I love technology, and I feel like it really is taking the world to heightened places, and it's bringing the world closer. And I really feel like young people today need the opportunity to be able to, you know, monetize their ideas, and ideas are the currency of today. And I feel like tech lends itself to that. So I'd spoken to Ange about the fact that I wanted to invest, and I wanted to really get into that space because I like to do things out of the box a little. And then she talked to me about, I was at a dinner for Bumble Biz with Whitney because this was I just thought it was such an incredible platform, which is a social network site for women, by women, for everyone. It's such a unique thought. It gives women precedence, it gives their choices precedence, it gives them safety, but at the same time, it's for anyone who wants to be a part of the social network. So when we were sitting at this Bumble Biz dinner, when I was seeing the presentation and everyone, I was sitting next to Whitney and I told her, I was like, I don't know, being a woman from India, I think this would be a really great platform or like it would be really amazing thing for Indian women to have in their arsenal, which gives them a sense of empowerment because it's on their terms. It's basically choosing your life the way you want to and being the best version of it, whether that's in love, whether that's in business, whether that's in your friendships, or the kind of network you want around you, the kind of people you want around you. And I just thought that was such a great idea for India, where urban India right now is waking up, and has been for the last decade or so, has been waking up to women wanting to make their own choices, having a say in our lives, which was something that we never had. And this is on your phone in the safety of your home, where you choose the life that you might want to explore. So it's okay to be curious. And I just thought there was such a power in that I spoke to Ange and said that, is there something that we can explore? And that's how this whole thing happened.
Okay.
I mean,
how are you planning to monetize Bumble? Because usually internationally they end up monetizing it through ads or through in-app purchases. Both those thoughts are very unattractive to the Indian consumer. So how are you going to monetize?
Well, I think it's going to be a journey of exploration here to see what works. I mean, I think we're just launching, so we're going to see what works and see, what resonates with Indian consumers. But I actually just wanted to go back to one of the things that you were asking about, Priyanka, moving into investments. And I just wanted to say, so I've been an investor now for about 8 years, and because I manage Pri and we spend so much time together, I was telling someone earlier, like she's so innately curious about everything. So I'll be on the phone and I'll get off the phone and she'll be like, well, what was that company? What's that about? She'd always be asking me. So, and one of the things that I noticed about Priyanka, what really resonated with her was companies that are kind of social impact. So companies that are doing something to shift culture, to shift the world. So whether it's Holberton School, which is really empowering women to become coders and excel within technology, or whether it's Bumble.
And getting women and diversity into engineering, which really is very male dominated.
So, so for Pri, I think it was people have been asking me this all morning, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Why did she get into it now? What was it? I think being together, it's been a journey that I've been on for such a long time, and she's just so innately curious, so she's been asking me lots of questions. But these ones, these companies really resonated with her, and then we went to the Bumble dinner, and she was all about the biz, Bumble biz, and then we both kind of went on a journey of exploring what Bumble is as a whole platform, right? But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know that I think that for me also, Priyanka's opinion in the companies that I've been investing in has always been so important. I was telling someone earlier that I invested in a cosmetics company, and before I even made the investment, I showed her all the cosmetics because she uses about 500 products every day in glam. So I was like, tell me what you think about all these products, and she'll break them down, and she's so analytical, and she'll, from the packaging to the product to the consistency to the texture, she's so in depth with everything with her hands. So I feel like she's a bit of an accidental investor like I was at the beginning, but it's been such a natural thing for her.
Apart from technology, are there any other sectors that you're planning to invest in?
I'm not a planner, Ambika. I don't know if you've realized that over time. I'm just opportunity. No, not my thing. I really believe that instinct is something that has worked for me my entire career. Opportunities will always knock at your door, and I always tell young people that when they talk to me about success. It'll knock at your door. It's up to you to recognize what the potential of that opportunity can be and how much you want to work at it. So I don't know. I mean, the world's my oyster. I never thought I'd be writing a book. I never thought I'd be investing in tech. I never thought I'd be, all the things that I'm doing producing, but I am. So I don't know, look, going forward, it'll be good things, hopefully.
So going forward, movie-wise, what are you planning? How are you planning to spend your time between America and India?
I mean, just the way I have already. Nothing really changes that way. Both countries are my priority. I am fortunate to have the ability to work in two of the biggest movie industries in the world, entertainment industries in the world. and I intend to be able to straddle both. Wherever people want to watch me, wherever I get opportunities, I'll keep doing that. Right now, I'm working on Sky is Pink. I'll go back to shoot this month, and then January again, and hopefully the film will be over by then. That should be a mid next year release. Then I have Isn't It Romantic, which comes out February next year. And then next year I go into a couple of other movies. Let's see, I don't know.
Okay, as Sky is Pink, if you could take us through the narrative and why did you choose that role?
I'm co-producing the film as well with Ronnie Screwvala and Siddharth Roy Kapoor. But what really struck me about this movie was it's a true story about parents who fight their damnedest to make sure that their child who is born with a fatal disease lives the best life. And it's so inspiring. It's such an inspiring look at death, which is one of the most common, which is the one thing that we all know will happen in our lives, but yet we're so afraid of it. Having lost someone very close to me, which was my father, I feel like Shonali's version of this film was a celebration of the person's life instead of the tragedy of death. And I just think the perspective of the storytelling and the narrative is really something people would be fascinated by, and that's why I chose it.
Okay, talking about your Bollywood history, any movie that Nick is fond of or his family that they find your role in fascinating?
Barfi, actually. Barfi and Mary Kom. These are two that I think they've watched.
We're all obsessed with, I think.
Yeah, but more than that, I think it's just been the songs like Ram Leela, Desi Girl. They know all the hook steps. It was shocking. Galla Guriya, they know all the steps to everything. It's amazing.
Wonderful.
Well, Desi Girl sort of became my anthem, so.
Yeah. It was Desi Girl everywhere.
Amazing. In Bollywood, we see a lot of the Me Too movement which started from Hollywood. What is your take on it, and what do you think can be done to make it a safer environment for women to work in?
First of all, stop pulling them down. And when a woman talks, then maybe give her the credit of, what she's saying, the benefit of what she's saying. And also, I think the media really importantly needs to differentiate between what a predator is and what a bad date is. There's a big difference. I mean, men also cannot be targeted by people who think they've had a bad date or someone who didn't have a good relationship. That's very different from what a predator is, whether that's a man using their power, misusing it, or whether that's a man misusing their sexuality or abuse. I think how you guys talk about it and how you guys write about it is really what will set the tone to differentiate between these two, and that's when the real predators will be, I think, punished and found. And I think that's a difference that we need to really talk about what it means to be someone who abuses their power instead of someone who just didn't have a great relationship.
Talking about relationships, I have to say that recently with one of the apps, there was a problem where people had so many fake IDs out there. And this girl went out with somebody on a date, and the next day they found his body because they had taken out his body parts and sold them. So there's that kind of danger that happens when it comes to dating apps. How are you going to deal with fake IDs?
Yeah, I mean, Bumble's being really, really diligent about this. I mean, they're also taking an anonymity, I can never say
anonymity
really seriously. But the reality is, here's the thing, like, digital life, I'm not belittling that at all. Like, digital life is a reflection of what's happening in real life. Those things can happen in real life, and they happen on the digital platforms too. I mean, there is, obviously, we're taking every precaution possible to
screen people,
to create anonymity, to protect women. I mean, more so than any other app out there. But the reality is that we live in real life. So, we're doing everything in our power to make the world safe as we do in our physical lives. And, we're very committed to that.
All right. Now, you are successful, ambitious, and you found love. You've made things like distance, culture, talk about age irrelevant. What advice do you have for all the women out there who are struggling to find love or to balance love and work?
I think, and I've noticed it, and I do it myself, I'm a victim of it myself, I have, but I sort of recognized it, and I'll give that as my advice to people out there. don't focus your energy so much on what people think of you and what your image is and what society says. Focus your energies on how you feel, what your job makes you feel like, what your loved one makes you feel like, what your husband makes you feel like. I think if we live in the reality rather than how many likes we get or how many positive comments we have or what the neighbors are saying, then life is really fairly simple. Because all those people who we worry about, ki society kya kahegi, log kya kahenge, they're not going to be there when you have bad times. So why do we care about them so much? Why are they so important in our lives? As soon as we shut out the clutter, life becomes really simple.
Okay, what's the roadmap ahead? Now that you're married, you've spoken about your app, you're going ahead shooting for your film. The Indian fans of yours are wondering, where would you go for the honeymoon?
Me too. I have no idea. Right now I have just work commitments this whole month with shooting and like doing a lot of work with Bumble and a few other ad commitments that I have. And I don't know, we still haven't figured out where. I think it's going to be a surprise though. I think that's what my husband's planning.
Now, you are a power couple. In term marriage-wise, whom do you look up to in terms of, I know you will carve out your own unique roadmap, but whom do you get inspired in terms of marriage when it comes to a power couple or a couple?
I think both our parents, his parents and my parents have had like an incredible marriage. And they've had their mountains and valleys, but they've been very supportive to each other. And our belief in faith and family together, I think that's what we look up to. God has been a very important, integral part of our lives, both of us. And so have our families, our big, fat, ginormous families. And we love that. And I think that's our inspiration, really, to be able to have that all our lives.
I watched this other interview of yours where you spoke about how one of the most attractive features about Nick is his love for your drive and ambition. If you could say something about that.
Well, I just feel like women are always expected to not be ambitious after they get married or not have, to shift their focus. And it was one of the first things that I fell in love with him for. I was going for a meeting, I remember, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go. I just want to hang out with everyone.
It was with me, the meeting.
Yeah, the meeting was...
Because she told me the story afterwards.
The meeting was with her and my management from around the world was meeting. And I was hanging out with everyone and I was like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Why don't you tell me to cancel it or whatever? And he was just like, I'll never tell you to do that. If you thought it was important enough, you would have done it yourself. I'll take our friends out and we'll wait for you. And it just like, I was like, wow. Yeah, I've never had a guy who said that, be ambitious, be driven, be the best that you want to be, and I'll take care of things. I love watching you succeed. It was just such a new thing for me because I guess I'd never experienced that.
Okay, so do you have any advice for all the men out there how to be cooler and embrace ambition in a woman?
Yeah, I would say, as surprised as I was, surprise your woman by doing it and let it not be a surprise, let it become norm where we support each other and our will to grow, and that's what marriage should be, I think.
On that note, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations and all the best with all your investments and your movies.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.